This video is to share 2 ways to use forms in your team's meetings. So the first way is when you are in your channel. So this is my sandbox class and my general channel. Down at the bottom where you start a new conversation, you can click forms. If yours doesn't have forms, then you would click these 3 buttons at the end and choose forms. I have a form. When it comes up, this gives you 2 options. You can either have a multiple choice question or you can have a multiple answers question. So if I wanted to ask, how are you doing today? Then I can fill in my options. And then click next. After I've created it and I'm good with it, then I can send it. And what this will do is it will put it in at the end of my channel messages. So I will be able to see the question, how are you doing today? As well as my 2 options. Students will then choose their option, submit vote. It does not count your answer until you click submit vote. And then they'll be able to see their results right on here. And so that will give you a really good picture of your class as a whole to see how well they're doing with the content. It's a very quick way of doing the thumbs out, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs to the side. So that's one way to use forms in your team. Another way to use forms in your team is to create a form that you're going to share here in your team. And the way that you do that is you would go to your email address or your calendar and you'll click on your app switcher and you'll go to forms, and then I will see all of the forms that I've created so far. So how are you doing today is here. If I wanted to dig into my information a little bit more to figure out which students are really struggling, which students basically had their thumbs down, I can click on it, look at my responses. It will give me a nice graph, but what I'm looking for here are more details. And it will give them my name and then my response to the question. If I'm looking for a more in-depth formative assessment, let's say that I want to give my students a problem so that they can prove that they know what I'm asking them to know or understand, then I can go to Forms and I can create a new form. And I can call it whatever I want to, and then I'll add my questions. My questions here can then be multiple choice. They can be text entry, they can be a rating, they can be a Likert scale, all sorts of things. So you have a lot more options through forms if you do it this way. From there, you can share it as a link, but I'm going to show you how to share it a different way. I'm going to go back to my forms and I want to share challenges. So I'm going to go to my team and this time I'm going to click on the plus. And so I want a form. I want to add a form to my team here. And here's the difference between these 2 choices. The first choice allows everybody on this team to edit the form, which is not what I want to do. I want to get their responses. So I'm going to scroll down to challenges, and then I want to collect responses. And I'm going to save. And then what it'll do is it will create a different tab where students can always go back to it and find it and then submit their vote. So let's say that my greatest challenge is student management. I'm going to submit my vote. And then what I can do from there is go see the responses here in challenges. So as a teacher, I can go see the responses. I already had 4 responses. The response I just entered would be the 5th response. And so what I need to do here is reload my page. That's the hard thing about this one, is that you do need to do a refresh to get all of the responses. This is not a live document, from my understanding. You can view results, or I'm just going to do a quick view and do more details. I can see all of our responses here. So I'm going to close this up. It also gives me a good graph so that I can get a good idea of what my whole class is doing. So we just reviewed 2 different ways to use forms in your team. Remember, the first way is through the conversation, the new conversation, and using your forms down here. The second way is to create a form on the Forms application online and then add the form here, which will create a post. Both of them have their benefits. The one that's up here will give you some more options, but it is just a link and students won't be able to see each other's responses. If you add it here, students can see each other's responses. You can get a big, quick picture of your whole class right away. And they would be great for a quick check of your class. Thank you.